During meditation and your communion with sacred and divinity, are you practicing the mantra of Om to raise your awareness? It's a question. Awareness is what's been missing. That's why there is suffering. There is no clarity in our perception. We are perceiving every moment, every second. Since the day of our birthday, whether we have words in our mind, whether silent the mind. You see this? Silent the mind and be with me. Whether we have words in our mind, whether we have images, numbers, and thoughts in our mind, or we don't have that. Either way, we are perceiving, isn't it? Through our five senses, which are all outwards. Awareness is what's been missing since the day of our birthday. We start perceiving the reality around us, whether we can verbalize it internally or externally, or we cannot verbalize it. The one who can verbalize and the one who cannot, they are same and they are equal. Nobody is less than anybody. But the only person who is better, not in the sense of morality, but in the sense of cosmos, is the one who is much aware. Understand something and remember. You see, I always tell you to remember the word remember. Awareness is what's been missing. That's why there is suffering when we are perceiving and gathering data. Thus, the circumstances in our surrounding, the three-dimensional reality is a very narrow band, if you understand. We have narrow band and we have broadband, you see. So the goal in this form is to broaden our band. It's all about the band, you know. So what happens basically? We are perceiving in this three-dimensional reality if there is obstacle, if there is less awareness, if your awareness is not heightened, if there is obstacle, if there is barrier, if there is resistance, if there is anything like that, you would think the life is miserable because your awareness is not risen, sadly and unfortunately. So you would think the life is miserable and life is a punishment. That's why most of us humanity are wondering that what is the purpose of life? If every cell, every molecule, every atom in your body was bursting in joy, every cell, every molecule in your body was bursting into joy and happiness, you wouldn't be asking this question. What is the purpose of life? The reason you became so adamant to find the purpose in life is because now life has become a burden. It's not that life has become a burden. Again, your awareness is not on a certain level. That's why it seems like the life has become a burden. A person who is much aware, such as enlightened people, they would see every barrier, every obstacle, every resistance as an opportunity to transcend the karma. You see, that's the difference between the person who is less aware and the person who is rather more aware. The less aware person sees everything as a suffering and hence is very adamant to find the purpose of life. The much aware person sees every obstacle, every barrier, every resistance, every misery as a way to transcend the karma. And life becomes very easy. You see, it's not that life becomes very easy. Life is not easy, no difficult. Life is life. Life cannot happen around you in the way you want it to happen. Otherwise, you would be God, wouldn't you? But the thing is, you are not God. You know why? Because you don't have the right temper to be one. You see, it would be a chaos. It would be a disaster, you know? If you became God with that kind of temper you carry every day, then it would be a chaos. It would be a disaster, you know? So remember that. Life cannot ever happen in the way you want it to happen. You go around, compile a survey, ask 100 people that do you have any complaints, and when you write down their complaints and then you sit in a super silent corner and you focus on the survey, you come to realize you come to basically realize that all their complaints you come to realize that all their complaints are coming down to one statement and one statement only. You know what that statement is? Life is not happening in the way we want it to happen. And again, as I said, life would never happen. Once you raise the awareness, which is missing, you start happening in accord with life. I hope you are following. You start happening in accord with life, and once you start happening in accord with life, it seems like that you are the chosen one. We talked about that before. I have mentioned that before. So, and then everything is falling together in your way. Things, you are totally in synchronicity. You are seeing the repetitive numbers everywhere. It means that you are guarded by the angels and stuff like that, and no harm shall come to you, because now you have realized, or in the process of realizing, your fundamental state. If you truly understood your fundamental state, if you if you truly understood your fundamental state, you would never suffer. You would never be scared, because there is no beginning to you and there is no end to you. You see, what you are confusing the beginning and end is the carnation, or what we understand in Hindi, Jeevan, the birth, the knots, two knots, the birth and the bodily demise. You see, but life does not end on life does not start from your birth. You don't start from your birth, and you do not end on your bodily demise. You always have and you always would remain. But when you listen to these words and when you read about this stuff, it seems very fascinating. It fascinates you. You know why? Because you already know all this, but I am the one who is making to realize that, who is making you to realize. You see, that's why it seems very comforting. But the thing with that is, it wouldn't bring much result unless you do the practical. That's the reason I wanted to deliver these words of truth and wisdom after my meditation, that I want you to understand this. It's very significant and dire that awareness is missing. You crank up the voltage, you would see rather much clearly if you understand. But if there is darkness, of ignorance, then you cannot see. And you would, sadly and unfortunately, you would keep falling. You see, as Lord Jesus Christ mentioned, that blind leads the blind, both fall. That's what he's talking about. That bring clarity in your perception. Then you would see every barrier, every obstacle, every resistance, every misery as an opportunity to make you the right choice, as an opportunity to make the wise choice. Hence, you would transcend the karma. You see, crank up the voltage. If you are sitting in a room where there is darkness everywhere, if you understand, and there is darkness everywhere, you are sitting in the room, you cannot see nothing because there is darkness of ignorance. Suddenly somebody comes around and cranks up the voltage. You see, like this bulb. Somebody comes around suddenly and cranks and cranks up the voltage. When the person cranks up the voltage, all of a sudden you see there is a spot. In that spotlight, you see there are 50 people sitting, you see. Now the question is, those 50 people, did they suddenly appear? The answer to that is no. Those 50 people have been sitting over there all along. But since there was darkness, you couldn't see them. Then somebody cranks up the voltage even higher. You see there are 500 people sitting, and so on and so forth. So we are accomplishing the higher the voltage is, you see. The higher the voltage is, the more clear you see. Awareness is just like that. You see, the higher your awareness is, the more clear you can see. Transparency of things, you see. Transparency of things. There was a woman in India, her name was Kunti, and she actually asked Brahman for the misery and chaotic situations. She prayed for it. You know why? This way she can transcend the karma. And there are numerous examples like that. That sometimes people, in order to transcend the karma, pray for misery and adversities or difficult situations, difficult problems. They literally pray for it, you know. And because they see it as an opportunity to transcend their karma. It may come across very strange what I just mentioned. It may come across very strange to you what I just mentioned, that it seems like the person is a fool, but the person is not fool. The person is rather much aware than me and you see. And that's why. Please remember something. When I say raise your awareness, I'm saying raise yourself, because awareness or pure consciousness is not something that exists outside of you. Awareness and or pure consciousness is what you are. If you understand, awareness and pure consciousness is what you are. Awareness or pure consciousness, awareness and pure consciousness is not something that you do and it would leave you. It's not something. Awareness or pure consciousness is not something that you do on the timely basis, you see, and then you do in a timely fashion and or you do in a timely manner that would basically leave you after some period of time in an altered state. No, it's not. You are always aware. You see, last time we talked about that how do you even know that you exist? You exist because you are simply aware, isn't it? Or you exist because you simply know. What you know is not important, or you are not aware by something. You are not aware by someone outside of you. You are not aware by something outside of you. You are simply self-aware. Hence, you understand you exist, isn't it? No matter how hard you look at it, you would come to the same conclusion, that which I am saying, you see. So awareness or consciousness is not something that you do. Awareness and consciousness is what you are. Now pay attention, whatever the extent of your awareness or whatever the extent you are aware of, if you understand what I'm saying to you, whatever the extent you are aware of, awareness and consciousness is what you are. And whatever the extent you are aware simply of, the extent becomes your life, you see. And if you bring yourself up higher, means you are raising yourself. When I'm saying that you are raising awareness, your life is expanding, you see, and life needs expansion. So your life is expanding, not in terms of money or in terms of social connections or your image in the society or your family is extending. This is not life, but the life which as an energy which is running through your accumulation, which is your body, that life is expanding, you see. So if you raise yourself, which is the self-awareness, whatever the extent of you are aware, that is your life. So life is given birth by you. You see, life is given birth by you, and the life then manifests, shape and forms, nama, rupa. You see, so awareness is necessary. Because remember something which is very important for you to understand. Since the day of our birthday, you see, when I say since the day of our birthday, it means, it doesn't mean that if your birthday was yesterday or your birthday was the day before, it doesn't, I'm not talking about those birthdays that you celebrate once every year. I'm talking about the day you were born, since the day of your birthday, since the day of your birthday, since the day of my birthday. Each one of us is heading to the same direction. The direction is heading to the same destination. And remember something, life is not about the destination. Life is all about the journey. If you are much aware, if you are more aware, your journey becomes pretty and beautiful. If you are less aware, your journey becomes miserable. It's very simple. It's common sense. I'm not telling you rocket science. I'm telling you pure wisdom. Since the day of our birthday, we are heading to the same destination, which is our bodily demise, isn't it? We celebrate birthday, We celebrate birthday once a year, basically. It means that 1 year, whatever the life is, whatever the carnation, not life, but the carnation is 1 year less than that carnation. That's what the birthday is. The person who is less aware and the person who is totally aware, they both are heading towards the same direction, towards the same destination. Is there a fact or it's not a fact? You see, they both, if you understand, they both are heading to the same direction. Their destination, their direction basically is the same, if you understand, which is the bodily demise, not death, because there is no such thing as death. And you know by now that I am extremely reluctant to use the word, because there is no death. There is just life and life. You see, there is just life and life. There is no such thing as death. Since the day of our birthday, we start heading to the same direction or the destination, which is bodily demise. It's a fact. We have two type of people here walking on the same road. You see, two type of people. One who is less aware, that person is not enjoying the journey and it's all about the journey. And the second person who is much aware, the one who is enjoying every moment of the journey, because person knows it does not end here. As a matter of fact, it does never end. Please mind you, as a matter of fact, it does never end. So yeah, raise your awareness. Now the question becomes, how do we raise awareness? Today it would be 200 video on my YouTube channel. However, right now I am online on social media, but after a certain period of time, when I get a moment, a chance, I would obviously upload this video to YouTube as well. So more and more seers, more and more viewers, more and more people can be benefited, you see, can be benefit from the words of truth and wisdom. You see, how do we raise the awareness? 200 videos are over there on my YouTube channel. You see, 200 videos are on my YouTube channel for you to know and find out that how we raise the awareness. 200 videos. Also remember something, if you are doing meditation regularly, which is a beautiful thing, which is a brilliant thing, but if you are not taking the right measures, it would take a lot of time for you to raise your awareness, what you essentially are, and it would dissipate very soon if you are not taking the right measures along with meditation. Sometimes people ask me, yes, what is the best way to achieve effective meditation or the results that they desire from the meditation? Meditation you are doing to raise yourself, what you essentially are, awareness. Meditation that you are doing so you do not have no duality in you. Remember the tension of rubber band? I give you the metaphor of rubber band or elastic band. Here in America we call it rubber band, in England we call it elastic band. So when you pull a rubber band or elastic band, you realize that there is a tension between two fingers. And you know why there is a tension? Because the rubber band is being pulled, you see. So that kind of tension you have when you have duality. It means that you yourself are pulling in two different dimensions. You see, your focus is not on one thing. You are talking to somebody and you are listening to somebody while your mind is somewhere else. You are delivering a speech, you are saying or you are trying to say something, but your mind is hooked somewhere else. Just like that, when here in America we have drive-through on the fast food chains and stuff like that, and you go through the drive-through and there is this poor person. These people work really hard and I literally admire them. And you go through the drive-through and this person with the headphone and the mic, they not only they are taking your order, but they are processing and they are multitasking. You see, that is multitask. If you have a job like that, obviously it is okay to multitask because you gotta pay your bills. I talk practical to you, I do not talk fiction. So you gotta pay bills, you gotta support yourself. But when you are by yourself, keep your focus only at one place or defocus from everywhere. That's what meditation is. Take the right measures. If you do not take the right measures, then the results of meditation would be longer to achieve and it would dissipate very soon. It seems like when you are, imagine yourself that you are in a combat. Imagine yourself you are on a battleground. Imagine, I'm not saying that you are, God forbid me, but I'm just saying, hypothetically speaking, imagine. What happens basically? What happens is you need a sword, you see. You need a sword and then you need a shield. It's a fact. Shield is to protect yourself, you know, and sword, you know. But shield is to protect yourself. So meditation basically is your sword, but shield is taking the right measures. So you conserve the energy, if you understand. Otherwise, energy would dissipate very soon. Are we still gossiping about other people who are not present? Are we still making assumption that everybody is judging us and talking about us? Are we still talking negative to ourselves that how we are such a failure and worthless? And are we still judging people? Are we still voluntarily bringing our focus and attention to people to judge them, to cage them? So if we are doing all these things, first of all, these are all useless habits. It would not bring you no result. In the end, what you perceive is your knowledge and your own knowledge solely. That's number one. You see, number one? Shh. That's number one. Shh. You get excited when I raise this one on my lips, huh, don't you? So that's number one. And number two is that when you get rid of all these nasty habits and they don't bring you no results, you perceive your own knowledge. It means that your awareness, your focus is invested in useless things. Then forget about the results of meditation. If you want to bring your awareness, what you essentially are, high up. Do the right things, you see. Judgment, somebody says, it's just automatic. Yeah, it becomes automatic because it's a very strong conditioning. You understand? Judgment is a conditioning. Don't you know that? You learn to judge. When you were born, were you judging people around you, the doctor, your mother, the parents, the siblings, when you were born? Obviously not. But you learn, you pick it up from somewhere, isn't it? From society, and it happens to each one of us. Yes, it becomes automatic and natural to judge people, but it's very possible to get rid of this trait, you see. I do it all the time, or for the most part of my day. It compels us. You see, it's very compelling, nasty habit. It compels us basically go ahead and judge the person, so you can cage the person, so you can figure the person out. You cannot figure out no one. You cannot cage the person. You just know what you already know, and you need an affirmation, you see. And then no matter how good or the beautiful person is, the being is, you look at the person for what you have perceived within you. You see, you don't see the truth as it is happening. You see the truth as you are happening. Your knowledge is happening. The whole edifice of knowledge and everything that what you have been handed over. You see, challenge everything. When the compel, rises in you, when you see somebody and you want to judge them, stop yourself and ask yourself this question: even if I did judge this person, what difference would that make in my life? I have a life to live. What difference, what peace, what contented, what peace, what fulfillment would it bring in my life? It's a practical question to ask, isn't it? It's a smart question to ask, isn't it? It's a wise question to ask, isn't it? That what role it would play in my life, you see? And then you would have your answer, and then you would stop right then and there. Give the person a chance. Do not draw lines about the person. Even the person made the mistake, do not draw lines. Give the person a chance. And do not just come to the conclusions, this is how things are. No, this is not how things are. It's a process. It has no end. Keep all this in mind. So get rid of the nasty habits, the conditioning, which is serving no purpose. Some conditioning in the dream of humanity is very necessary, if you understand what I'm saying to you. But most of the conditioning in the dream of humanity is nothing but lies. Take the right measures along with the meditation, and then miraculous results of the meditation, then you would see how meditation works. Meditation works for everybody. You see, meditation works for everybody equally if the person is taking the right measures. It's not that meditation is not working for you. You are not working for yourself. You are not taking the right measures along with the meditation. Oh. Now you can see rather much clearly observance, a spectator of truth and wisdom. Don't go anywhere. We are not done yet. Just remember, keep meditating and remember that I love you.